Hi, everybody. It's time for Lee's transplant journey. I was doing this a while back before the transplant. Now it's been a year since I've had the transplant. So, if you'll be so kind, just stay tuned and we'll start the show.
Check this.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Lee's transplant journey, and it's been a while since I've done the transplant journey. But it's been a year, and a buddy of mine was like, "Well, whatever happened to your show?" I'm like, I kind of got away from it for some reason. But I definitely don't want to be away from it anymore. I definitely want to reach out to you guys, talk to you about what I'm doing, what I'm having done, what's going on. I can tell you this everything is awesome. Everything is awesome that's going so far. So far, I've been extremely lucky. I would definitely like to share with everybody. Um, and there's my buddy Clark Crawford. And, I don't want to share with everybody everything I've been through today. This is kind of the restart, episode one, you might say, of the post transplant time. And I want to tell you a little bit about who I am, what I'm doing, and how this whole transplant journey has gotten to this point here. And that's going to be exciting for me to share with everybody. I would love it if you guys would comment over on the right. Hey, man, how's it going, Billy Riley? Thank you both, Clark and Billy, for chiming in. We got a bunch of people watching already this afternoon rather. It's 2:30. I'm trying to keep this to we'll see. See how it goes and see where it goes. But let me talk to you first off. Let's get started, and let me tell you about my journey, what's been going on with me, and how this has come full circle. And that is, and I got some other brands to show you. Where's my one that I wanted to show you guys? Is this a background? Must be a background I threw up here. Here's my back. I'll take me some my. And there I am. I'm back. I am back. So my buddy was going to give me a call, but I'm going to be doing this show. This is going to be a show that we're going to do weekly. I think Mondays is a good day. We might do this more than, I think we're just going to do it once a week. Monday seems to be a big show day. So I think we're going to maybe do it on Mondays. Um, yeah, just kind of start your week off with some good, encouraging, uh, you know, comments and talk about and stories. And I need stories. Hey, Lisa Marie, how are you, darling? I need some stories. So here's my journey, because I have some people I've been working with that I don't think even really know my journey, because I don't know. It's a long drawn out journey, and I don't want to bore the heck out of people, even though I normally do anyway. So so this is the deal. And I'm on this microphone, so I should be talking into this microphone. I'm sorry that I got to listen to myself, folks, just so I make sure that you guys can hear me well. Okay, there we go. So now we are here, and Yep, that's the microphone. So when it was over here, you guys weren't hearing me very good. Sorry about that. Now you can hear me good. Kevin Bednarz. I'm embarrassed. Kevin Bednarz is a superstar YouTube guy, and he's watching, and he's probably going. Anyway, let's start over. Let's start from the beginning. So about 25 years ago, believe it or not, 25 years ago, I had a big old swollen lymph node on the side of my neck below my ear. And it was swole out. I mean, kind of out here, you know? I was like, what in the hell is this? So I had Kaiser at the time, went to the Kaiser over in Springfield and saw these guys. They went to the doctors. Somebody else just liked and shared. I appreciate you guys doing that. Tura Arsala. Tura, obviously, I'm not going to be able to talk to you because I'm doing this little show. So as soon as the show's over, we'll talk. Anyway, so, and y'all bear with me. I'm ADHD, and it has nothing to do with the transplant. So bear with me because I can get sidetracked in a heart daggone beat. Don't forget to like and share, folks. There it is. It's up there somewhere. I should take it out. But do like and share for me if you would. I'd appreciate it. Now, here's the story. The story as I know it. Lee's transplant journey started, I would say, 25 years ago. I got a disease called sarcoidosis. That's what I'm shortcutting a lot of this to get to the transplant part. This lymph node that I had that was all swollen up, I went, looked at it. They looked at it. Oh, it might be this. Turns out I went to the doctor. The ENT finally looked at me, said, you need to go get a chest x-ray. So I did. He said, oh, you have lymphoma. The shadow in your lung, that means you have lymphoma. I said, ooh, and that's why your lymph node's all swollen up, because you have lymphoma. So we plan to have a surgery to take out the lymph node and then biopsy it right there in the operating room. I got to do live tissue, of course. So we did all that. People prayed for me. Boy, you wouldn't believe people praying for me. It was a beautiful thing, miraculous feeling. It was really neat. And we came to the hospital. I don't know the date. I should, but I don't remember things like that. But we came to the hospital. A lot of people there praying for me, being with my parents and all that kind of stuff. So before I knew, the doctor came out and talked to my parents and said, they pulled out the lymph node. The pathologist looked at it, said, no cancer. There's no cancer whatsoever. So they're going to test it. Okay. Then I find out about that. That's a long story. The coming out of the surgery, dry heaving, laugh, funny stuff with a nurse. Trying to get to go home, and she said, when you're more awake, you can go home. And every time she walked in the room, I go, hi, I'm ready to go home. And she'd say, sure. And she'd leave the room, and I go, I mean, I was done, that stuff. Pam Green, Rosamondo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to try and keep track of the comments also. Tora, there you go, buddy. So anyway, so I then went home. Doctor called us in. He said, well, we discovered that it was not cancer, not lymphoma, but we tested it for everything else, and it's nothing. So it's sarcoid. Anybody out there watching can make a little comment if they are familiar with sarcoidosis. Did you get the same information? We don't know what it is, so it must be sarcoid. Is that an answer for you or what? Yeah, it's not anything, but it is sarcoid. We don't have a test right now for that, but we're just guessing. Apparently, they do have a test for it now, and apparently I do, in fact, proven that I have sarcoid. So the sarcoidosis, I was told, and immediately by the pulmonologist, he said, okay, well, you've lost about 30% of your lung function because of the sarcoid. That's swollen up at the bottom. All the lymph nodes in your lungs are swollen up. And so now you have diminished capacity in your lungs, but you still have 70%. I felt pretty good. I don't remember, other than I was out of shape, and that's what I basically thought the reason why I had a hard time walking long distances and up hills and upstairs and stuff like that was because I was out of shape. So I started getting into shape a little bit more, and as everything started to progress. Oh, by the way, the pulmonary doctor said, Lee, there's really no treatment for sarcoid at this time. Some people are using prednisone. Prednisone, I think, is going to do more damage than it is going to be helpful. So I'm not going to do anything. I mean, I could tell you to drink 10 glasses of water a day, and then when the sarcoid goes away, I'll tell you that water healed it. He said, because in white males, it should just go away. 25 years later, I still got sarcoid. And up until about, let's see, my wife and I have been married 20 years. And she knew about the sarcoid when we got married. I was having some problems. The pulmonary doctor put me on oxygen, but the pulmonary doctor that I had initially was an idiot. So we just did the same thing. Ever went to the doctor every time. He didn't tell me anything. Didn't know what's going on. Yep, you got sarcoid. Whatever. So I didn't like him very much. So I just stopped going. And in the meantime, it progressively got worse. Finally, my primary care, I went to the primary care and said, I'm really struggling with this breathing. He said, well, you need to go see this pulmonologist. He gave me the number for a really great guy. And he tested me and he checked things. He said, I'm putting you on oxygen. And I said, well, I was on oxygen before, because my sat rate was like, those of you who are in the know, transplant people, my oxygen saturation rate was like 84. Yeah, and it would dip into the 70s sometime. Well, he said, well, you're getting on oxygen. I'm going to put you on 6 liters. And people, side note, people say, why don't you get one of those portable ones? Well, because they only go up to 4 liters. That was the reason I didn't have the portable ones. Those mostly for cystic fibrosis. Is that right? I don't know. Pulmonary lung something. I don't know. So they get work good with 4 liters. I could not operate with 4 liters. I had to be. My brain's not getting enough oxygen right now. Yeah, so that was the deal with that. I had to have 6 liters of oxygen, and sometimes I had to crank it up to 8 because I was just really out of breath. Then thus starts the hospital visits, because I was having shortness of breath to the point where I could not even operate, could not even hardly get up. I would go, Dad, you got to take me to the doctor. And before that, though, this is transplant journey, y'all, because the sarcoid we can get into big time. So next week, we're going to do the transplant journey, sarcoid version. And we'll talk about sarcoidosis and all the different crap I've gone through with sarcoidosis. 2 cataracts, kidney stones, gallbladder. Oh, yeah. But we'll get into that another day. So I've been through all that stuff before. Well, not before the lymph node came up, but during that process, while I was married. So sweetheart wife of mine. But we had all that stuff going on. And so finally I had to go to the hospital, and my pulmonary doctor, who's awesome, I won't say his name, but he, if you ever want to know, give me a call if you're in the Virginia area. I'll hook you up. But he said, Lee, there's really nothing I can do. You need to go see. I think you're going to need a lung transplant. He said, and that's not my specialty and stuff. He said, you need to go see Dr. Stephen Nathan. That's something in my teeth. Yeah. Kind of gone. Okay, picking my teeth on the radio, on TV. Um, I'm a goof. So basically, I went to the Fairfax Inova Heart and Vascular Center, had made an appointment, went in, saw Dr. Nathan. That guy's a wonderful doctor, super smart. Yelling again. Not the best bedside manner. He's got a lot of patients he deals with. So wasn't my favorite guys in the world, but he's a good man. But needless to say, I started going to him. He started looking at stuff, and then I had to go into the hospital again because of breathing problems. It was just up and down, in the hospital, out of the hospital, telling me things like I need to lose weight. Let's try and manage this. They were hoping to manage it, and they didn't. The reason I think they were aiming to manage it is that I was big, and they didn't think I'd ever lose weight. Oh, he's not going to lose weight. He's a punk, But no. So another person chimed in. Sorry, somebody chimed in. Sandra Ortega. So yeah, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. So basically, and Sandra's heard this story, I'm pretty sure. Basically, I started having issues, so I got passed off to Dr. Christopher King, the king of pulmonary. Young guy, smart guy, came from the army or some military branch where he like a director of pulmonary or something. And here he comes in, and they start doing tests and heart cath. I had to do a heart cath, right and left, all this stuff. And Dr. Brown is one of the other doctors that I was seeing, like when I was in the hospital. And one of the times when I was in the hospital, Dr. Brown had come up to see me, and she said, okay, we looked at your heart cath, we looked at this, we looked at that, and it looks like you have, first they said I had a hypersensitivity interstitial lung disease. Then they said, well, it could be this kind of interstitial lung disease. But there's only 3 kinds of interstitial lung diseases: the hypersensitivity, something else, and sarcoid. And they said, well, we know you have sarcoid, so we're just going to go with sarcoid. That's what you have. Because basically, we're going to treat it the exact same way. Any of those 3 are all treated the exact same way. And the reason was that the biggest problem was that the inside of my lungs were coated, and there was no good exchange into my lungs. And so I had my CO2 that was going in wasn't coming out. So therefore, there was no room for the good oxygen. That's how it works. No room for oxygen, you don't get any. So she basically said, you're going to be on oxygen the rest of your life. And I said, no. I said, what's the option? Another option, because I'm only 50, and there ain't no way in hell I'm going to dragging this oxygen can around with me for the rest of my life. She said, well, the only other option is to have lung transplant. I said, okay. Well, you're going to have to lose a lot of weight. Okay. It's not rocket science. I understand. So she put me, she said, okay, well, let's start moving in that direction. So we started doing stuff. I started working with my pre-transplant guy, Matt Steven, you stud. He and I were, simpatico as far as getting this done. He used to ask me all these questions. Like I said to him, so how fast does this process go? It depends on how willing the patient is to participate. I said, dude, you call me, I'm here. 15 minutes. Anytime. I'll drop whatever I'm doing. He said, well, that's good news. That will help you. Okay. Well, that's exactly what I will do, my friend. So he was awesome, though. Matt Steven, I'm telling you, folks, that whole crew at Fairfax Hospital, fantastic in the lung transplant and liver, whatever, the transplant place, the clinic at the Heart and Vascular Center. Anyway, super duper guys and gals, all of them. Give a little shout out to all of them. I'm telling you, I can't even begin to tell you all of them. Carmelita, she's not watching probably. I like to say her name. Yeah, so all the doctors there, fantastic. Can't wait. I'm going to see Dr. King on September 8th for my 1-year follow-up eval from him. I've done all the testing today. So it's been exciting. It's been fun. And I hope that he'll have good things to say, but he's not going to about my weight. I need to drop weight again. I'm about 50 pounds away from where I used to weigh, so that's good. But I gained back almost 50. So since the transplant. So I need to knock that off and get that gone so that we can live happier and healthier. Now, one of the things with the transplant journey also, so let me just get going with that. So they put me on what I had to do. I had to put together my care team, which is my mom and my dad, my sister, my wife. And I had to go to the hospital. We had to do a whole instructional thing. I had to go to seminars. I had to go learn about this, learn about that, go to the nutritionist. I started up with a group that did like a keto diet. That's why I dropped so much weight so fast. But the funny thing was, when I first started doing that, the option was do the lung transplant or be on oxygen the rest of your life. So here's Lee, the dum-dum. I go, and every now and again, I was still hitting the drive-thrus. But I was losing weight. I'd lost 30 pounds really fast, lost another 5, 10, whatever. But every now and again, I would hit the drive-thru and get some McDonald's, French fries and a burger or something like that. And, in my mind, I just said, it just means I'm going to be on oxygen another day. Just that's all that means. So I can justify doing it because I just had to put up with the oxygen for an extra day. Then I had another episode. Had another episode at the house. I said, I got to go to the hospital, Dad. And he drove me over there. Went to the emergency room, went in. They came in. Heart cath. Let's go do a heart cath. And they told me, So then when we had the meeting after, we sit down and Dr. King is in there and he says, Lee, and he's got the family around and you could see this nervousness on his face. And he says, we just did your heart cath and your pressure, your pulmonary pressure is really, really high. He said, your heart basically is killing your lungs or your lungs are killing your heart. I said, but my heart's in good shape. He goes, it is now. He said, but if this keeps up what you're at right now, you're going to be in a real heart. You are going to have massive heart failure. And because your lungs aren't being able to oxygenate the blood properly, all that stuff. I don't know exactly how it works, but that was the deal. And at the time I had AFib also. So that was caused, turns out, caused by the lungs. Because now that I have new lungs, I don't have AFib anymore. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, so this is when he said, if you don't get the transplant, you're not going to make it to the end of the year. I was like, what? That's the gut punch. That was the gut punch. So that was the first time I heard anything like that. There was no mortality issue until right that moment. And I said, are you kidding me? So I said, okay. Believe me, folks, it was do what you got to do or die. And I started doing no more stopping at the 7-Eleven, no more stopping at the drive-thrus. This was Lee Bailey on a mission at that point. So everyone's worried. My wife's crying. My mom's crying. My sister's, everyone's all worried. I'm not worried. I'm like, well, don't worry. I'll get it. I'll get it done. It's going to happen. It's first I've heard of this, but it's the first time we're going to make it happen. So needless to say, I still had to do a few things. I won't take you through the whole process. We can talk offline if anybody wants to, but there's lots of tests to get you on the list. You got to pass a liver test. You got to pass all these other things, all these tests, including the heart caths. Well, but the heart caths, you don't have to pass them because that's why you're getting the transplant. But all kinds of stuff. So it came down to it that they finally got me on the list, not without some troubles, because the doctors were being dim-dims. Give you an example. I went over to John. They sent me to Johns Hopkins to the guy who does livers. I forget what you call that doctor. Anyway, he looked at all my paperwork and my CAT scans, all that kind of stuff. And he said, well, I'm of the opinion you don't need a liver biopsy because all this paperwork I'm looking at, I'm sure that it's just a fatty tissue disease, which goes away as you lose weight. And I said, oh, okay. So he wrote it all up and he sent it to my doctor. And my Dr. King and Matthew Stephen, Mr. Matthew, Nurse Matthew, they had that. And what else did we not do? Oh, yeah, they did this whole encephalogram, whatever, what is it called? Endoscopy, endoscopy. There it is. I got it finally. They did an endoscopy and a colonoscopy at the same time. Yes, they met in the middle. Anybody who knows all about that knows what that means. So needless to say, I'm out. I don't even know what the hell's going on. But they did that. They thought I had reflux. Ugh. So then, but the doctors did this EGD thing where they put this sensor down in my stomach, esophagus, or whatever. And that told them everything they needed to know for like a week. They just tested everything, checked everything, whatever. So I didn't have to take a manometry. Manometry. That's a torture device. That's this long tube, about 3 feet long, probably a yard. Let me see. About a yard long. And it's got little sensors every inch or so, inch and a half on it, little black balls, sensors. And it's a long green tube, and they stick it in your nose, and then it goes down your esophagus. And you got to drink something and swallow, and then drink something and swallow and hold it and whatever. All these, it's torture, folks. You guys all complaining. Everyone's complaining about taking the COVID test where you stick that little thing up in the nose and trickle it. This thing went in my nose, and it was as big around. No, it wasn't as big around my pinky. About like a size of a straw, actually, or a size of a number 2 pencil, probably. And it goes in there and all the way down so that it's down to my stomach. And they're testing for reflux and all this kind of stuff. So they said I had reflux. Long story short, it turns out I had gastroparesis. So I didn't have reflux, and therefore they just put me on the pill. And so far, I guess it's been doing great. I've never had any kind of reflux symptoms myself either, maybe twice in my life. And that was, I could usually tell you why. Something nasty I ate that automatically, like garlic butter. That always burns a little bit. Thanks, Papa John's. So yeah, so basically I go in. I got another person. Who's here? Sandra. Rich Daniel. What's up, brother? The divas, folks. The divas. So yeah, so they tested everything. Finally, all my tests were done. They had come, so my doctors came and brought the test to the test before the manometry and before the liver biopsy. And you know, both my GNAV person said he don't need the manometry because we had the EGD, and the liver doctor specialist from Johns Hopkins, or no, Georgetown Hospital, said, no, you don't need a liver biopsy because I can tell what it is. So they'd submit this thing, and the doctors at the round table, that's what they do. They sit around this table and they discuss patients, and then they say, okay, let's put him on the list. It's got everything. Well, they were like, where's the liver biopsy? And my doctor, King, superstar, and Matt said, oh, the guy at Georgetown says he doesn't need one. We want one. So then they said, okay, well, let's keep going through everything. Where's the results of the manometry? They're on the EGD because the EGD does everything the manometry does. We want a manometry. They're the ones that tortured me. So I haven't seen Dr. Brown since I have actually. I haven't said anything. So anyway, we scheduled for all that, and I went. I did it. I had it. I did the manometry, did the liver biopsy. Ridiculous. They brought it back to the doctor guys, and they all said, aye, aye, Captain. Let's put him on the list. So on the list I went, and my number was like 25 or something like that. Don't hold me to that. But it was decently higher up, but it wasn't like way up. So I was like, okay. But if you know something like on the transplant issue, a lot of it has to do with compatibility. Like, for instance, I'm O positive. So I am the plasma universal donor. The problem is, as my cousin, she went with me to one of the seminars talking about what happens with the whole transplant. And one of the things they were talking about was blood typing. And they said, and they're talking about blood types. And my cousin, who's a nurse, she turns around to me and she says, what's your blood type? I said, O positive. She goes, oh, you're a giver. I'm not a receiver. So basically, the only blood and or organs that I can take have to come from an O donor. Okay. So may sound bad, but it's also good, because when you have that specialty, that special thing, then if a donor comes in who's O, you're first priority, because only you can take O. I also happen to be 6'2.5" something like that. So my height made a big difference. It has to be able to fit into my lung capacity, and I have to have a big enough lungs. So that was another issue. If somebody unfortunately is injured or whatever and is passed away, and they're not passed away, but they're put on a machine to keep them functioning for donation purposes, and they're O, and they're like 6'4", 5", I'm getting those lungs, because I'm probably the only person who's 6'3", and the only person on the list also that is O. So that would be helpful if that worked out. So what I'll tell you is this. So I'm on the list. Apparently, I didn't know this, but I had an offer. An offer was made. Something came through. My number came up, but apparently it was a high-risk transplant. And my doctor, Dr. Schloben, God bless her, my best friend, she saw the lungs and said, nah, they don't look good. So we're going to pass on them. I won't get into where they go from there, because they probably got put in somebody. So another reason why I'm very happy I'm with Fairfax, because somebody said okay to them, which, if you're going to die, then I guess that's a huge thing. So even if they're high risk. So anyway, so I missed on that one because my doctor didn't want to give me those lungs. So then I'm waiting, and they call me and say, hey, we're going to admit you to the hospital and put you on high flow, because you're having troubles with your breathing. And I said, okay. He goes, the good news on that is that it'll knock you up several notches on the list. So that's good too. So in case there's anybody else that's tall and O or O positive, then you're going to be higher than them and you'll be able to get lungs. Now, see, all of this sounds like people are listening going, man, you mean you overjumped somebody that needed the lungs also? Well, I did need them. So, yeah, that's how that kind of works. It sounds kind of cruel, but I don't know the details. So, I'm not supposed to put my hand to my mouth. So, anyway, so I went in the hospital. People on the fourth floor at the hospital, on the third floor also, just superstar nurses. My favorite people in APU and the CPU? No, CCU. No, that's cardiac care unit. Anyway, it's the APU and the telemetry unit. Okay. TPU. TPU. Apu. From The Simpsons. Anyway, so I went up there. They put me in a room. I was in there, but I was in there literally, y'all, for like a week, maybe a little bit longer. And one day I had some visitors. Hey, guys, see y'all later. And as they're starting to leave, or they left early in the morning, in comes Dr. King, and he says, we have an offer. And it looks like a good offer. Everything, all the pictures I've seen look really good. It's not a done deal, but the heart's your first right of refusal. The lungs. It's 2 lungs. And they told me that a long time ago that I was going to need a double lung. I couldn't just do a 1 lung. He says it's double lungs and they're yours, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen them yet. So we have a doctor on his way up to Baltimore area, and that's where there's a big facility up there that cleans organs, or lungs rather. I think just lungs. And we don't get into that. I will another day. And he's going to take a look at the lungs and see what they look like. He said, so we're going to schedule for 3 a.m. And I was like, what? Okay. I mean, no, I didn't say what. I said, all right, I'll be here. So then he came back and he said, or he didn't come back. He said, but we may move you to the morning so that Dr. Ryan can get a good night's sleep. I said, Dr. Ryan, where's Dr. Bogar? That's who I met when we had our day with the care team, and they went over every part of it. She was the person who came in and talked about the actual surgery. And I was like, this woman is a badass. I love this girl. She's awesome. And she was bad, dude, bad to the bone. So Dr. King came in and said, no, it's going to be Dr. Ryan. And he's great doctor. Don't worry. I said, what happened to Bogart? She goes, no, she's not going to be available. Oh, okay. I mean, I was a little disappointed. I said, because she's a badass, dude. He laughed. I said, that's cool. I'm sure Ryan's good. So, and he goes, oh, no, he's real good. He did a cell job on me. And I was like, okay, whatever. So then I'm sitting there thinking, wow, it's going to happen. It's time. So in walks Dr. Bogar. And I was like, well, hi, Dr. Bogar. How are you? And she's like, I'm good. I said, I'm sorry you're not going to be able to do my surgery tomorrow. She goes, oh, I'm doing it. I said, really? He said, Dr. Ryan was going to do it. She goes, I saw your name. And I said, I got this one. What I didn't know, and I didn't know this, she's the chief of surgery at Fairfax Vascular Surgery. I did not know that. So she basically has the authority to say, thanks, Dr. Ryan, but I got this one. And I said, did you take mine because they told you I said you were a badass? She goes, oh, no. I took it, and then they said, well, he's going to be happy because he thinks you're best. So I said, well, I do. So I immediately had a crush. It was that whole Florence Nightingale crush. She's a beautiful lady and just super, super nice. Beautiful smile. Just really neat lady. Totally in love with her. As you would be. The person is going to save your life. So anyway, she was awesome. Great talk to her. She said, don't worry, we're going to do it tomorrow morning, 7:00. I'm going to head home, get some sleep. And then it's going to be a longer surgery than usual because your lungs have calcified, it looks like, to your inside your rib case, in there. I said, okay. So it turns out, so they come, I don't remember much more beyond that because they came in, they had a last second, told the nurses at the last minute or something that it was a 7. They supposed to get me down there like an hour beforehand. And so they were hustling to bathe me. I tell you, I do not remember hardly any of that part, which is my understanding is the anesthesia, as much as they have to put you on for that kind of a surgery, kills some of your memory. So I don't really remember. I have some pictures that I have no recollection of, almost like one time when I got drunk. Anyway, so that was the deal. I mean, I was like, whoa. And afterwards, they said he's going to be hooked up to tubes. They also warned my family that when they came in to see me, I was going to be strapped down, and not to be worried about that, but so I don't kind of wake up and start pulling tubes. So they have to restrain me. Anyway, the next thing I remember is somebody going, all right, Lee, I want you to take a deep breath. He goes, and then we're going to pull out this tube. And that's literally all I remember. I was like, huh? And I heard him say that barely. And right about the same time, I heard someone else said, I heard my wife say, maybe I shouldn't be in here. So about that time, they say, okay, let's go. And so they pulled out the tube that goes like all the way down into your lungs and rip out of my mouth, and it hurt maybe a little bit. I don't remember it hurting that much. And my wife passed out. Down she goes. They're helping her. I'm sitting there going, hello. But it was pretty wild. All right. I got to talk to somebody here, y'all. One of my doctors, actually, she's a true doctor. Hold on. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Actually, you know what I'm doing right now?
No.
I am doing a Facebook Live YouTube show called Lee's Transplant Journey, talking about my visit today.
I see.
Yeah. What's going on, superstar?
All right. Well, I was calling to follow up on the results of your CAT scan.
Okay, well, hold on a second, okay? Stand by. Hi, everybody. I'm back. I just talked to my doctor. I call her my doctor. She's actually has her PhD in nursing. So she's a CNP, which means she's a doctor nurse. She has her PhD. Anyway, so she just told me they on my eval that I had today, and everything I did today was I first got their blood work, then I had spirometry, which was great. My 6-minute walk I walked like a mile in 6 minutes. So not a mile, but anyway, but a long way, long way. She said she was amazed how far I walked. So that was cool. And then they sent me to do a CAT scan, to do an echocardiogram, and to do a EKG. So she was calling for follow-up. She said they found a nodule on the CAT scan. So they're going to do a CAT guided biopsy. A scan guided biopsy. So they have to call me back for that information. Anyway, thank you guys all for watching, for tuning in. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to talk to you about my transplant journey. As a matter of fact, if I'm talking about my transplant journey, I should put up my overlay. You like that? It's Lee's transplant journey, everybody. I really appreciate everybody tuning in, watching, and let me say a shout out here to Christina Corte. Hey, Christina. Rich Daniel, Lisa Marie, Sandra Ortega, Pam Rosamondo, Tura Arsala, and Clark Crawford. Thank you guys, all of you. And stay tuned today as 4:30. We'll have our Be Encouraged 4:30 program. And then tonight at 7, we are having a superstar guest, folks. A superstar guest. I got to find the thing for it. Hold on, folks. Oh, that's where it is. It's under brand 1, baby. Brand. And actually, it's not under brand 1. Let's see. Let's go to Nova Nation. Huh. Nope, it ain't there either. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you are rolling along out there, don't hesitate to hit us up, find out what's happening. And we would love to reach out to you and say hello. I'll leave you with this little video promo for our show.
Lee, I know you're expecting a hockey game tonight, but I really wanted to bring you to something that's completely different. Although it's on ice, it is players, but it's ice dancing.
You know what?
Just check it out.
And you said, wear your hockey jersey.
Watch it. He's on the ice. Watch it. He's going around. He's going around the boards right now. He's going around. He catches up. Oh, he crashed. Oh, my God. But that's perfect. That's just like hockey. It's great.
You know what? It's not like hockey, because that guy is wearing sequins, man.
Lee,
that's not hockey.
Lee, you need more joy in your life.
No, I
don't. I came to ice dancing. Joy, more joy in your life. You got to go to the MoreJoyRadio.com.
I want to see people hit each other, and you know what? You can't even get beer here.
I know, but this is all about joy. We brought you to Ice Dancing for Joy, just like LMB Show. MoreJoyRadio.com. They click on the LMB Show, and they listen to us on Friday nights. That's joy.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that's a good idea, and I'll just try to be more joyful. But again, no hot dogs, no popcorn. They don't have none of that stuff here.
I'll buy you some. Click, connect, listen. LMB Show.
Oh, folks, that's what it's all about. Man, we got another about 5 minutes here. So basically, folks, I did the transplant. It's been a year. I'm here. I'm having fun. We're going to be doing this on Mondays at 2:30. How about that? Mondays at 2:30, folks, is when we're going to have our little show, the transplant journey of Mr. Lieber. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun, folks. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to have a blast because every day is a blast here at MoreJoy. And if somebody else said hello, Mike Stalvey. What's up, Mikey? All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching Lee's transplant journey. God bless you. Peace. And see you at 4:30. And then again at 7. And then at 8:30 for Trivia Extravaganza.
Saying that it feels right.